Hi everyone, welcome to this video where we'll be looking at changing the permissions of the SharePoint Site Members group from the default of edit permissions to contribute. Now before we go too much further, just give you a little bit of information about 3Grow. We're a SharePoint and Office 365 specialist training organisation based in Australia, but also offering training throughout Asia Pacific, such as Hong Kong, New Zealand, Singapore, etc. And a little bit about myself. I'm Russ, I'm Managing Director of 3Grow based in Melbourne. I've been training for over 17 years. The last 12 or 13 of those years have been spent specialising in SharePoint and Office 365. So what we're going to talk about on this video are, first of all, why we would want to change the permissions of the site members group. We'll then go through demonstrations of changing the permission level associated with the members group within a standard SharePoint team site with no Office 365 group attached. Now, of course, that therefore applies to on-premises versions of SharePoint where there are no such thing as Office 365 groups as well. We'll then also have a look at a slightly trickier scenario, which is changing the permission level associated with the members group of an Office 365 group connected SharePoint team site. Now, I don't know about you, but in my opinion, allowing end users to be able to create lists and libraries, edit the settings of those lists and libraries, and even delete those lists and libraries isn't necessarily appropriate in a lot of scenarios, especially considering that most of those users will have had little to no training in SharePoint and are simply expected to just get on with it. So in the first example, we'll have a look at changing the permission level associated with a non-group connected SharePoint team site. Bear in mind the same process would apply to communication sites in SharePoint Online and also any type of site in the on-premises versions of SharePoint where there is no such thing as Office 365 groups. Now, first of all, by going to the settings cog in the top right-hand corner, we can then go to the site permissions. From there, we can then go into the advanced permission settings. And here we'll see any groups that currently exist within that SharePoint site. It's very straightforward to change the permission level. All we'll do is simply select the group whose permissions we want to change. On the ribbon, we can then edit user permissions. Simply untick edit and instead select contribute. OK to confirm. And the users within that group can now manage the content within the lists and the libraries, but they're now unable to create new lists and libraries, change the settings of those lists and libraries, or delete lists and libraries from the site. In the next example, we'll have a look at changing the permission levels associated with the Office 365 group connected team sites members group. Now, this is a little bit trickier because what we'll notice is when we go into site permissions and then again into advanced permission settings, when we select any of these SharePoint permissions groups, you'll notice that the option to edit user permissions is actually grayed out. So instead, by choosing to go into the permission levels, now I would never normally recommend editing any of the out-of-the-box permission levels. However, in this instance, we're not editing them as such. What we're actually going to do is swap over what they mean and what they allow the users to do. So first of all, we're going to open up the contribute permission level, and temporarily we're going to simply call that contribute 1. While we're here, we're also going to copy the description of that permission level. Submit to save the changes. What we're then going to do is open up the edit permission level, and what we're going to do is turn the edit permission level into the contribute permission level. Now, of course, the name contribute is available, having renamed the original contribute permission level as contribute 1. Now, this very first option that we see under list permissions is the only difference between contribute and edit. This is the option that allows people to create, edit, and delete lists and libraries within the site. So we're going to deselect that. And then just using Notepad, I'm going to paste the description of the contribute permission level. I'm then going to just copy the description of edit, or what was the description of edit, and paste that in here as well. And then simply replace the original description of edit with the description from contribute. So first, we've therefore turned the edit permission level into contribute. All we'll then do is open up the what was contribute 1, and we're going to turn this into edit. We'll then copy the description that we pasted into Notepad earlier, replace the description in here. We'll then tick manage lists. As I mentioned, that is the only difference between contribute and edit, and submit. When we then go back to the site permissions page, we'll now see that the members group has the contribute permission level assigned rather than edit. So although we're not able to edit which permission level is assigned to the groups within the group connected team site, we are able to swap over their names, descriptions, and what they allow users to do. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you have any ideas of other videos you'd like to see or have any questions, please feel free to get in touch on learn@3grow.net.